All right. YouTube. Hello. Discord. Or not Discord. That's YouTube. Discord I already had. All right. TikTok. Going live. All right. All right. And then we're good here. There we go. A lot of sunlight. I had to close the curtains because it's actually getting hot in here. I had to put on shorts. It's like summertime already. Like a little too much. All right. There we go. There's TikTok. Excellent. Excellent. Hello. French nuclear attack submarine visiting Canada. That's very interesting in view of everything else going on. Oh, all right. Hold on. I'm going to adjust my camera up and then down a little. Here we go for YouTube. That should be okay. That's pretty good. Okay. That's pretty good. All right. Hey, TikTok. So welcome back, everybody. So I'm kind of having fun, if I can just say. I've been trying to do family tree stuff forever, and I've been trying to sort of put together an essay of my family's history and stuff, and using ChatGPT, which has been up and down. But one thing I just discovered was, and actually this is good. Well, this may not apply to your family, but let me put my microphone on for TikTok. One thing that kind of blew my mind was my family. Kind of somewhat famous family in the Greek Revolution. They're in the history books. They're online, etc. And I found a Greek history book from 1888 that talks about my relatives in the Revolution. And the book is free online because it's old, right? And it included a PDF version you could download. So I went to ChatGPT. I said, I've got a copy of a Greek book from 1888 in Greek, the PDF. Can you read the PDF? And it said, if you could upload the PDF, I could read it. I uploaded the PDF and I said, find everything in the book mentioning my ancestor. And it gave me a summary. And then I gave it the family history document I've got. And I said, compare my family history doc with the book. Is there anything new? And it said, oh yeah, here are all the new things. Blows my freaking mind, this ChatGPT stuff. I got to tell you. It's all this AI stuff. I mean, blowing my freaking, I had it read a 200-page book from 1888 in Greek for me. And it, by the way, it took 1 second for it to read the book too. I mean, thank you, Running, for the gift. Blows. Anyway, sorry, guys. Welcome. I'm talking about sort of my ChatGPT experience that's kind of making my head go, woo, like freaky. It has some issues too, but freaky how good this can be. Absolute. But I mean, imagine it's reading a book from 1888 for me in Greek, which opens up an entire universe for me of doing research on my family. You know, actually, and by the way, any of you from other countries too, if you've got documents in other languages, right? Very cool. Okay. Anyway, I'm back. Welcome, guys. I'm John Aravosis. This is my show. We do this every Monday to Friday, 6 o'clock Eastern. We talk about the latest news from Ukraine. So welcome all. I'm going to be a little hot tonight in here because the sun, I'm getting used to the sun situation, and it's just like it's like summertime in this room with the sunlight. I sort of forgot how bad the sun got here. I mean, I may have to put my air conditioning on. Thank you, Mustard, for the hearts. So anyway, a lot of news today. I will, as always, go through the Ukraine news and the American news. I'll start with the American news, and then we have a lot of Ukraine news as well. Possibly good news. We'll see. Thank you guys for the gifts already, as always. Oh, there's a Nemo. Thank you, Mustard. Good to see you. Vlad. Oh my God, Vlad's here. Actually, Vlad, do you want to do a check-in with us? You can if you want. You can go live. But this is my friend Vlad, our Ukrainian friend, who's very, very involved and up on what's going on with the military and the civilian side and everything else. Up to you, Vlad. But if you want to try to go live, you can. I can sort of just put it on speaker, not speaker or whatever, but people at least on YouTube and Discord can hear you. Up to you. You want to try? I'm looking here to see if Vlad's, oops. Oh my God. The screen isn't scrolling over. There it is. Oh, you can't be a host. You could be a guest though. You want to be I'm going to invite you. You accept if you want. It's up to you. But if you want to come and join us, because there is some big, decently big Ukraine news today. He tried to sneak in. We saw you. We saw you. It may be too late for him to come on. It is like 1 o'clock in the morning there or something. Up to you, Vlad. Oops. Let's see. Or did he drop on us asleep? Maybe. Sorry, we're trying to see my Ukrainian friend Vlad, see if he wants to join us. He said no, almost asleep. Okay, that's okay, Vlad. All right. It is 1 o'clock in the morning. You're allowed to sleep. Well, I'm going to get to the Ukraine updates in a second. Let me start with the Trump news, and then we'll move over to the Ukraine news. There's a lot of Ukraine news today. Stocks are down again. This is getting interesting and messy. I talked about this a lot last night. I'll give you kind of a quick update again today. The stock market is dropping precipitously here in America in response to Donald Trump's threats about tariffs, but also the budget cuts have them a little freaked out too. But the tariffs have the stock market, Wall Street, especially freaked out. Not only are they worried about the tariffs because the tariffs are going to cause inflation, there is also concern now that Trump's policies are going to cause a recession. A number of the top economic folks have expressed this concern. And then Trump made it even worse this weekend when twice on Sunday and Monday, Trump was asked by the press, are you worried about possibly a recession? And he said, oh yeah, that's going to be this year. Probably it's going to be, I'm paraphrasing, it's a necessary part of the, what was the word he used, guys? Was it process? He used of the transition. It was something like that, right? Something like that he came out and said, Ashley, go get her. Go get her. There you go. Thank you, Ashley. It's part of the transition, meaning the reset, as Cloudbuster just said, part of the reset to the new wonderful economic order, because we've got to do all these things that might throw us into a recession, but then it'll be better after the recession. Well, the stock market flipped out. NASDAQ dropped 4 points yesterday. Those are the tech stocks. They dropped 4 percentage points. The stock market itself dropped 2.7, the S&P 500%. Today, it dropped another 1%. People were freaking out. Trump, by the way, quelle surprise, Trump caved on the tariffs again today. Now, okay, thank you, Liv, for the gift. I am glad that Trump caved on tariffs again. What I'm not glad about is he looks like a weak-kneed, I don't know what. I am kind of, I'm wondering if he's like sick or something, because the old Donald Trump, I am not a fan of. You all know that. But one thing I didn't perceive Donald Trump to be before was go get him, Ashley. All the crazy mean people today. Go get him. Any of them gone. One thing I didn't expect Trump to be was, he totally caved on Mexico. Oh yeah. Was weak. Like Trump, I do not like him at all. I think he's a bad human being and a horrible president. But he's never came across as weak and indecisive, right? He has been totally back and forth on the tariffs. He threatened the tariffs against Canada, against Colombia first, and then pulled them back. And then he threatened Canada and Mexico and then pulled them back. And the reasons he pulled them back were total BS. He claimed, the Mexicans caved. They're going to put 10,000 troops on the border. Well, guess what? Under Joe Biden, the Mexicans sent 15,000 troops to the border. So sending 10,000 for Trump means they actually cut the number of troops that they're willing to send to the border. The Canadians, there was this is a month ago. It was a Tuesday, I remember, the day the tariffs were going to go into effect. The Canadians have agreed to a new $3 billion interdiction, blah, 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 for those nasty substances, as you guys know. And so we're going to call off the tariffs, except the Canadians had announced this program 3 days before on Saturday. Prime Minister Trudeau on Saturday announced, we've got this program already that we're going to be doing, interdicting, illegal substances going across the border. And 3 days later, Trump took credit for Trudeau's proposal. And it was like, no, Donald, he announced that because Trump was trying to back out. Because Trump was freaking out and felt he had to back out, right? Well, then they go ahead with the tariffs this time around. Immediately, within a day or two, Trump backs out and goes, okay, we're exempting automobiles, because the car manufacturers freaked out. Then he decided to exempt pretty much everything that's included under the free trade agreement with Canada and Mexico, which is like everything. Well, then he gets pissed, but he did go after some stuff. And then the Canadians retaliated, like the premier of, Ontario or whatever, who got pissed and put a huge tax on electricity coming to America, because 1.5 million Americans, Minnesota, Michigan, New York State, I believe, get electricity from Canada. So they put a big tax on that to try to screw us. And Trump got pissed today and said, then I'm going to put a 25 to 50% tax on steel, and I'm going to shut down your auto industry. And then 3 hours later, Trump removed it and now is going to negotiate with the Canadians tomorrow. Really? Oh, well, he removed it, but then said, but it might be coming back in a month. Couple things going on here. One, woo, 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 woo. He's like a ping pong, right? Back and forth. Thank you, Adrian. Absolutely ping pong. He's coming across as weak. Is YouTube still working, folks? Sorry, John's asking if YouTube froze. Oh, or no, it's good for you. Okay. I think he's coming across as weak. Clearly, some of Trump's allies are telling him you're screwing up the economy, right? Like on automobiles. Clearly, the automobile people weighed in and said, are you insane? You're going to kill the U.S. automobile industry with these tariffs. So he removed those, for example. Wall Street freaked out yesterday when the market had a small crash yesterday because of Trump's new tariffs on Canada and Mexico. China too, actually, but Canada and Mexico. So Wall Street freaked out and then Trump backed off. But one of the big problems for Wall Street and big business in the economy is it's bad enough that Trump's tariffs are perceived as very bad things by economists who know what they're doing, especially conservative economists, ironically, are the ones who really don't like tariffs. It tends to be the liberals that like tariffs more. The conservative economists do not like tariffs. Going to cause inflation, going to tank the economy. But what's just as bad, and a bunch of the business people came out and said this today from Wall Street, it's bad enough to have tariffs that are going to kill the economy and cause inflation, but you can't one day have tariffs and the next day not have tariffs and then have tariffs and then not have tariffs and then say 30 days from now they're going to come back, maybe, but maybe they won't. You can't make long-term business decisions if you don't know what the price of the product is going to be next month, 2 months from now, 6 months from now, because they've got to buy their products from abroad. They need to know now, is the price of that good from Canada going to be so expensive that I have to buy it from Europe? Well, it depends. Trees, for example, wood. We buy a bunch of lumber from Canada. I was just watching a video about this. We actually buy the lumber from Canada because it's a kind of tree we don't have very much of here in America. Trump said, oh, we've got trees. We can cut our trees. Guess what? You'll be surprised to hear. I was not an expert on trees. I know a little bit more now. You can't just cut any tree and use it to build a house. There are certain kind of trees that are much better. We have some of them in the Western US. A lot of them are in national forests that are protected, but there's not that much. Canada, 2/3 of the entire country is covered with the kind of tree we use for building houses. Okay. Apparently it's slow growing lumber, partially because of or maybe because of the cold. It grows very slowly. And because it grows slowly, it's more compact. Bottom line is and the older trees, it's better for lumber. Trump initially claimed, oh, we'll buy American trees instead. Well, no, we can't buy American trees. We buy Canadian trees, not just because we don't have them in America, but we can get them from Europe. They're a lot more expensive from Europe. Our builders in America, because Trump says, get them we can't get them at home. We don't have them at home to get. So if you don't get it from Canada, you got to get it from Europe. But Europe is so much more expensive than Canada for the trees that if Trump puts it, let's put it this way. Let's pretend here's the price of trees in Canada, lumber in Canada. Here's the price of lumber in Europe. For example, Trump puts a tariff on the trees from Canada. Now it raises the price here. Well, it's still cheaper to buy them in Canada. What if Trump put the tax and raises the price here? Now it's cheaper to buy the trees in Europe. You need to know how much tax Trump is putting and when and for how long in order to 6 months, a year in advance, put in your order for those trees. Because we don't know if Trump is going to tax and all of a sudden those trees from Canada just went up in price 50%. That's the problem. And by the way, the tax happens when they cross the border. You can buy them now at the price that works, and Trump raises the price 50%, and in a year from now, they come across the border, and suddenly you budgeted a certain amount of money. It's now 50% more expensive because Trump's whimsy. That is why Wall Street is so freaked out. That's why the economy is having real problems now. It's crazy. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. Elon's in trouble. Oh, actually, I just have one last thing. The White House today tried to blame Joe Biden for the economy now. This is actually pretty funny. I'm actually kind of surprised they didn't do this earlier. It's typical Trump to blame somebody else. This weekend, 2 different times. Actually, this is worse than Trump. Let's step back. Friday or so, Thursday or Friday, Trump's top economic guy is on TV and being asked about a recession and says, there's going to be some pain. There's got to be some pain if we want to achieve what we're achieving. And people were like, wow, Trump's guy is actually admitting there's going to be a recession. This is kind of weird. Then Trump himself gets interviewed on Air Force One on Sunday, his plane, and gets asked about it. And he says, well, it's kind of a natural transition. If we want to transition to the economy I want, and by getting all these government jobs and tariffs, we're going to have possibly a recession this year. Yeah. He gets asked about it again on Monday at the White House. And again, he says, yes, I think we are going to probably have a recession this year. And it's because of my policies, but my policies will end up doing good things in the end. But in the meantime, they're going to cause recession. Well, again, all of us kind of went, thank you, Lee Shaw, for the gift, by the way. All of us kind of went, Trump is admitting that his policies are going to cause a recession. Why would he admit that, right? Today, the White House went, no, he meant the transition from the Biden economy to the Trump economy. We will see a recession possibly because of what Biden did. And it's like, no, you were asked. Donald Trump twice admitted he was causing the recession. Trump's economic advisor on TV last week admitted Trump was causing the recession. All the economists agree the economy was doing fine. That the reason we are now under a threat of a recession, that the reason we are now talking about, Goldman Sachs said that the U.S. economy is going to grow more slowly than it was going to. They specifically said it's not because of some problem in the economy that Trump inherited. It's because of the tariffs. It's because of what Trump is doing. So anyway, but I thought it was kind of funny that today they finally went, oh no, it was Biden's fault. It's like, dude, Trump admitted twice this week that it was his fault that we are expecting a recession this year. I mean, having said that, he's very good at spinning these lies. He's very good at saying one thing and the next day he says another, and his voters go, oh, okay, right? It's very, very weird. Anyway, all right, what else we got? Elon. So Elon's in trouble. Did I talk yesterday about Elon's weird comments about cutting Social Security? I don't think I did. Tell me if I did here, although I can summarize them. Elon's in a bit of trouble today. Thank you for the gifts, OC Beach Lady. Keep the gifts coming, guys. I do this for a living, and I do it full time. So your gifts help pay the bills on TikTok and YouTube and Discord. Subscriptions are great too. That gives you access to my Saturday show that I do to thank you all. And also on TikTok, make sure to follow me. That's always a good thing as well. And hit that funny little heart button up there too. TikTok thing. It costs like a coin each or something. It's pretty small. So Elon's in trouble. Elon does an interview like a day or two ago. I think it was Fox News, of course. What else would it be? Oh, butterflies. Thank you, Martin, for the butterfly. Very cool. Thank you, Lee Shaw. And we got Jay Patterson. Thank you, guys. And Elon does an interview. And in the interview, I'm going to summarize this for you and paraphrase it, but basically says, oh, we're trying to cut the deficit but we've got a lot of programs that are entitlements. Thank you, Ash, for Nemo. There's a lot of programs that are entitlements. They're programs, an entitlement meaning, well, in Elon's case, he means a program that you've got to pay, but it also carries the connotation of something you didn't earn, like you're entitled to, right? What Elon meant, though, he goes, you've got entitlements and they make up this portion of the budget and they're this much money. And what he was describing, and all the analysts said on TV, they said it was clear Elon was describing, because he mentioned how much money and what percentage of the budget it was. He was talking about Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. He was complaining about. Now, just to remind folks, even Americans sometimes I think get this mixed up. Medicaid is the health insurance program for poor people, mostly disabled people too. Medicare is the health insurance program for retired people, for seniors, 65 and older. Social Security is the retirement pension program for people 62 and up, depends what year you want to get it. It's complicated. But it's both Medicare and Social Security are programs that every paycheck, a portion of your paycheck goes to pay for it. So those programs in particular, people get very upset when they're called entitlements, as if somehow it's welfare or something. And they're like, no, we get Social Security and Medicare because we paid into it all of our lives out of our paychecks. You're literally giving me my money back. Well, Elon goes on the show and he's in trouble with everybody because of this. Because some of the TikTok people today were like, he didn't specifically mention Medicare. Okay, he didn't specifically mention Medicare. He said this percentage of the budget costing this much money in entitlement programs. There's only one thing. Medicare, Social Security, and Medicaid combined that make up that percentage of the budget. He then claims, this is my second favorite part of Elon. He then claims, we're only going to go after the waste, fraud, and abuse. But that waste, fraud, and abuse is, I don't even remember, 800 billion, whatever figure Elon came up with, some crazy figure, right? And the analysts go, okay, he's only going to cut waste, fraud, and abuse in Medicare, Social Security, and Medicaid. But the amount of waste, fraud, and abuse he says he's going to cut is half of the program. He just pulled this number out of the amount that's waste and abuse, and it's half of the entire program he's claiming is waste and abuse. And people are like, half of Social Security is not fraud and waste and abuse. Half of Medicare is not fraud, waste, and abuse. So Elon got into a lot of trouble. The White House is trying to backtrack today. Trump held a big event with Elon today in his cars to try to, because Tesla has also been plummeting. The stock is down 36% over the last month. I mean, disaster for Elon. But Trump was also trying to deflect attention away from the fact that Elon called for cutting Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid by 50%. I mean, I'm not laughing. I'm laughing because it's just so insane. It's absolutely insane. But it's not just an insane proposal, but it's insane that Elon thought it was a good idea to go on TV and suggest cutting Medicare and Social Security by 50%. I mean, dude, are you crazy? Crazy stuff. Absolutely crazy. So that was the other big story today. And Democrats are not going to let Elon live this one down. The fact that he admitted it now, forget it, right? Elon also got into I was going to grab the quote and I forgot to grab it today. Oh, actually, no, that's not true. I've got it further below. Hold on a second. I've got it further below. Yes. Elon decided to get into a fight with a U.S. senator who's a military hero. We'll get back to that in a second. Let's move on to Ukraine now. Actually, as usual, I'll stop a second and say any questions or comments about this Elon stuff or the economy, anything I can explain or your opinions or whatever. And then we'll go next and talk about Ukraine. That'll be the next topic we talk about. Beep, 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 beep. Anything. Well, Dave said the Ontario premier caved on electricity today. He didn't quite cave. Trump agreed to talks tomorrow with the Treasury Secretary and the Canadians. So they're now getting together to figure out a way out of this crisis. So I think what happened was you guys slapped the electricity stuff on and people freaked out. And possibly the Canadians might have come up with something else. The new guy might have said, American farmers, you're about to lose all your potash. And the Americans went, so now the Americans are negotiating. So anyway, do I think people should not buy Teslas? I don't think I'll ever touch a Tesla again. Are you kidding? It reminds me of Domino's. Like I buy Domino's now because Domino's is no longer Domino's, the original Domino's. But for decades, people on the left did not buy Domino's. Cracker Barrel, same problem in America. There's also issues with quality control with Teslas, but that people have talked about. But Tesla is going to have to do so much to win me back. I told you, I test drove a Tesla and loved it 10 years ago. Now, literally, Tesla, in my mind, is associated with a guy who's trying to destroy my country. And I will never support, I will not only not support a company like Tesla, I will go out of my way to make sure nobody else does. Because of what they've done via Elon. I'm American. I believe in America, and Elon, I don't think Elon understands what it means to be an American, to be honest, to understand American democracy and our freedoms. I don't think he gets it. Anyway, what do you do? All right, let's move on to Ukraine. It is day 1,110 of Vladimir Putin's special 3-day military operation in Ukraine. The Ukrainians did a rather huge drone attack on Russia last night. They hit Russia with something like 330 drones or something. I mean, a huge amount. A number of the drones attacked Moscow. There was an interesting report from Sky News where their reporter was in Moscow and talking to local people who were like, I've never seen this many explosions near Moscow. They were freaking out, which is really good, actually. The people in Moscow were freaking out. 380, Martin saying, okay. It was the biggest number, I believe, since the war started that the Ukrainians did, which is great. So that's good. Secondly, the big news today, which honestly, I mean, it's not really news at all, but what the hell? Let's go with it. I mean, there's some importance here, though. Trump is going to turn, this is news and important. Trump is going to turn the military aid and the intelligence aid, the U.S. intelligence we provide to Ukraine, back on. And this is the funny part, because Ukraine agreed in the meetings in Saudi Arabia. There's meetings in Saudi Arabia going on today between the Americans, the Ukrainians, with the Saudis, pulling it together. And Ukraine agreed that it would accept a 30-day ceasefire. So because the Ukrainians have come around and accepted a ceasefire, America will continue the military aid to Ukraine. The problem is, not the problem, but Ukraine proposed a ceasefire last week. This is what I mean where Trump is weak, and I don't understand what's going on with him. He cut Ukraine off, and for some reason, he wanted to turn the aid back on, so he's lying and pretending like, breaking news, Ukraine agreed to a ceasefire. Only the Americans wanted a ceasefire, but now Ukraine's coming along, so because the Ukrainians have become subservient, Trump is claiming we're going to turn the aid back on. Except, as I said, last week, Ukraine offered a ceasefire. They proposed a ceasefire last week. This is just like the Canadian thing when I told you when Trump called off the tariffs because he got Canada to cough up $3 billion for border security, except Canada had announced the border security stuff like days ago. Whatever. I mean, let me put it this way, though. I'm glad. What the hell, right? I mean, it's good if the aid gets turned back on, even though Trump is making up lies for why the aid got turned on back on. Fine with me, right? I'm glad the aid's turned back on. A little more with this. Let me read you this. So the issue now becomes what happens with the Russians. And this is where it gets interesting. I think this is actually a good thing on multiple levels. One, at least for right now, it puts the crazy stuff behind us in terms of Trump being anti-Ukraine and everything. Now Trump is pro-Ukraine and says Ukraine's willing to do the right thing and this kind of crap, right? So what the hell? That's good. Second of all, Ukraine proposing a ceasefire. They already did, but Trump pushing a ceasefire. It's interesting right now because Ukraine is pretty much screwed in some ways here, right? Ukraine's not going to win the war at this point, obviously. I mean, that's just the reality of it, right? They're not going to win the war. They're not going to get all their land back today, right? They're not going to do it over the next year or two either. Trump is cutting them off. The best Ukraine can do right now at the moment in the short term is a pause because what's happening every day, Ukraine's losing a little land. Now, it would take Russia decades to get all of Ukraine, right? So they're not losing that much, but Ukraine is still losing a little bit of land every day to Russia. There's no benefit necessarily in the war continuing other than, you're still harming the Russians, you're still bombing Russia, and maybe that's causing Russian anti-war sentiment to grow, maybe, okay? But generally speaking, from a Ukrainian perspective, unfortunately, I think a ceasefire is not a terrible idea. Secondly, from the Russian perspective, a ceasefire is not a great idea because Russia is slowly advancing, very slowly. It's costing them the lives and the injury of a lot of men, but Putin doesn't care. I mean, he's a quasi-dictator. He doesn't care if he's injuring his men and stuff, right? So there's an interesting issue there as far as Putin doesn't necessarily want a ceasefire right now. Putin wants to keep pushing. Putin wants to keep getting more land. But because Ukraine's going, oh, Trump wanted a ceasefire. Okay, we're for a ceasefire. And Trump goes, yay, I'm for a ceasefire. Trump then turned to the Russians and said, we want you to agree to a ceasefire. And the Trump people are now threatening, Trump did too, but let's see if it happens, threatening Putin that if he doesn't come around, they may put more sanctions or something else on him. And that gets interesting. If we could have Trump turn on Putin the same way he turned on Ukraine, that would be interesting. Now, as I said in my TikTok video on this today, hardy har har har. I am not so naive to believe that Donald Trump is going to turn on Vladimir Putin. Having said that, who knows? I mean, the Russians could embarrass this entirely for Trump, right? Trump is hell-bent on he's going to cause peace in Ukraine or whatever the hell it is, right? So if Putin stops Trump from having peace in Ukraine, Trump could get pissed off. Now, the other possibility, and I think this is going to happen, rather than telling Trump to go F himself, Putin could say, "Oh, what a great idea, Donald, to have a ceasefire. We will accept a ceasefire if Zelensky resigns and the Ukrainians promise to never join NATO. And they promise to give us all the land we stole from them." Right? I mean, the Russians could, I think the Russians will put some weird wrinkle that will demand stuff that's crazy, but say, "Oh, we're all for the ceasefire if." And then you get Donald Trump receiving crazy Russian demands about Ukraine, for Ukraine to cave on crazy stuff. Will Donald Trump will Donald Trump stand up to Putin when Putin comes up with crazy demands for Ukraine? Or will Donald Trump just say, "Okay, sure," right? As long as you agree to the ceasefire, Putin, that Vlad, I should say, Putin, I'm happy to have Ukraine give up all its land and never join NATO. And Zelensky steps down. I could see Trump, exactly, as Chris just said, he'll side with Russia. Trump could easily side with Russia. Anyway, so but at least as of today, Trump isn't hating on Ukraine today. They're getting their weapons back. They're getting their intelligence back. And this now puts the Russians in a weird position where the pressure is on the Russians now to have a ceasefire. And by the way, the other reason the Russians don't want it, as I said, Russia is slowly every day making small advances, but they're advances. So from Russia's perspective, if you don't care that your troops are dying and getting injured, like Putin doesn't, then you don't care. If all you care about is every day the Russians are making slow progress, he doesn't care about his troops getting injured. He just cares about the slow project. So why not, right? So that's the first thing there. The other issue is, from Ukraine's perspective, it would be, the experts are saying, it would be very beneficial for Ukraine to have a pause right now. They would be able to basically, oh, I do, Emil. Emil was worried I didn't have my Trump wig. I got the Trump wig. It'll make an appearance when it needs to. But from a Ukrainian perspective, it would be very beneficial for the Ukrainians to be able to have a pause and to be able to take a breather, rest their troops, reconstitute their military, etc. Dig in, frankly, right? If there's a ceasefire for a month or two, the Ukrainians dig in some more to protect themselves against the Russians. So that's another reason Russia may not want this. So the big test will be, is Trump willing to basically stand up to the Russians if the Russians come up with some crazy ass response to the ceasefire and say, "Yes, we will have ceasefire if you give us Zelensky's head," or whatever, right? That's the big question. Let me see what else we got here. Trump says he'll invite Zelensky back to the White House. He issued a warning for Putin. Thank you for the Nemo, Tiger Pug. Keep the gifts coming, guys. This I thought was kind of funny from Sky News, or interesting. Sky News' analysis today was that this was a big deal. I like sort of the Sky News military guy. This is one of their military editors, Dominic Waghorn. Listen to this. "The announcement of a ceasefire proposal is an extraordinary turn of events," says our international affairs editor, Dominic Waghorn, speaking from Greenland, where he's been reporting on Donald Trump's first 50 days in office. "We're all entitled to feel a certain amount of whiplash because the direction of events had been very much," this is Sky News, listen to this, their international editor. "We all feel entitled to feel a certain amount of whiplash because the direction of events had been very much against Ukraine, and it had looked like Trump had almost switched sides in this conflict," he says. This is my favorite part. Listen to this. "It got to the point where some pretty seasoned observers, not conspiracy theorists at all, were beginning to wonder whether Trump was actually a Russian asset, wondering what Vladimir Putin had on him." To me, it is very interesting that a large, credible European news outlet, that one of their top international affairs guys is quoting seasoned observers of the military situation as wondering if Donald Trump, quote unquote, was actually a Russian asset and Putin had something on him. Now, those kind of rumors have been talked about by Trump's own top official, actually. Trump's own director of national intelligence, Dan Coats, who's a conservative Republican. You can Google this. He suspected, and to this day suspects, that Putin had something on Trump, that Putin was blackmailing Trump. And Dan Coats, actually, our director of national intelligence at the time under Trump, actually had his staff investigate to see if Trump if they had any evidence that Putin was blackmailing Trump, which is crazy. Trump's own top official for intelligence in the White House. Google it. It's a crazy story. I mean, it's a true story, but it's a crazy story. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. Thank you, JPT Farms. Let me see. Oh yeah, Paris today. So the French today hosted 30 defense ministers or defense secretaries from around Europe. Maybe the Canadians too. I wouldn't be surprised. That were on. Thank you for the beach lady for the potato. So I want to see. There was some other Rosemary for the heart puff. I know I did see some other gifts fly by when I was reading. Adrian with the cap. That was the last one. I saw the cap as well. Tiger Pug. Okay, there we go. Thank you, Lady Sarah, as well. I did see the cap when I was reading, and I didn't want to stop, so thank you for that. The French hosted 30 European and NATO countries, defense ministers mostly, to talk about providing security forces to Ukraine after the war, which is interesting. So I thought that was kind of good. A U.S. senator. So Elon got into trouble today with a U.S. senator. This is Mark Kelly, Democratic senator from Arizona, former U.S. Navy combat pilot. Isn't he the one who's the former astronaut as well? He's not just a former Navy combat pilot. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he was an astronaut too, or was his brother the astronaut? It wasn't his brother who was the astronaut, was it? You're saying yes. Okay, yes. So he's a NASA astronaut, although a lot of the NASA guys are military. Thank you, Melanie. He's so I just have to read you this. This is hilarious, okay? A U.S. senator has hit back at Elon Musk, saying the billionaire Trump advisor is, quote, not a serious guy, after Elon branded the politician a traitor for visiting Ukraine. Now, Elon's the one people should be worrying about in terms of what's motivating him. Listen to this. Oh, both were astronauts, maybe. Okay. Mark Kelly, the Democratic senator for Arizona and a former U.S. Navy combat pilot and NASA astronaut, made his third visit to Kyiv since 2023 earlier this month, meeting with wounded service members and Ukrainian officials. Posting on Twitter after he left the country, Kelly said, "What I saw proved to me that we can't give up on the Ukrainian people." And in a break from President Trump's stance on negotiations, called for security guarantees in any peace deal. Everyone wants this war to end, Kelly said, but any agreement has to protect Ukraine's security and can't be a giveaway to Putin. Musk, who also leads the DOGE department, Trump's budget cutting department, an advisory group, blah, 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 replied on Twitter to Kelly, "You are a traitor." I mean, Elon, who wasn't even born in this country, Elon, who, and I researched this last night, Elon's own, Twitter has a fact-checking thing on it, and it's crowdsourced. And his own fact-checking thing confirmed that Elon Musk left South Africa to avoid serving in the military. And it confirmed it. It said, yeah, that's why Elon left. So Elon, who fled his country because he didn't want to serve his country in the military, okay, is attacking a U.S. Navy combat veteran who is also an astronaut and calling him a traitor. Okay. And he's a traitor for visiting a U.S. ally. Right. And Elon's upset because the former U.S. Navy combat pilot and astronaut visited and defended an American ally against the Russian dictatorship. Elon's upset that, right? I mean, this is crazy stuff. Kelly wrote back to Elon and said, "Traitor? Elon, if you don't understand that defending freedom is a basic tenet of what makes America great and keeps us safe, maybe you should leave it to those of us who do." He then told reporters back in the US that Elon Musk is obviously not a serious guy. But I love also the little jab about, you clearly don't seem to understand what America's about, because I don't think Elon does understand what America's about. He thinks maybe I don't understand what America's about anymore, to be honest, because Elon thinks we're a corrupt, kleptocracy, and an autocracy where rich people get to circumvent the democratic process and basically hurt people. And honestly, he's right. I mean, that's the sad part and the irony of all of this, right? Anyway, all right. So that is it. Let's do our hangout. This is the part of the show we hang out, we talk. Your guys' questions, your comments. TikTok, Twitter, Discord. Keep the gifts coming, by the way. You know I do this for a living, so keep it coming. But happy to talk about any of these topics or other topics. Not guaranteed that I'm up on them, but you never know. Yes, Starlink. So yeah, that was the other thing too. Elon, we found out last week, Elon goes and kills a contract that our Federal Aviation Administration, which is the airport authority, basically, or airport and flight authority for America, right? The government agency dealing with airlines and all this kind of stuff. Thank you, Randy Fred. And Elon goes in and goes, thank you, Adrienne, for the hat. And thank you for the live gift, Marsha. Elon goes in and says, there's a contract that the FAA, the Aviation Authority, has with Verizon, one of America's largest phone companies. It's a corrupt contract. We're killing it. So he kills it. Who do you think Elon gave the contract to instead? SpaceX. He gave it to his own company. Okay. I mean, this stuff is corrupt as hell. Not only, by the way, contracts, billion-dollar contracts in America don't just get given to your friends. There's a process for doing this, right? Thank you, Marie, for the gift. There's a process for doing this. You've got to have bids. You've got to have like a open period for the bids to come in. You've got to have but objective people analyze the bids. You don't have Elon basically end the contract and pick his own company to take the contract a day later. The problem is it is totally corrupt, as Ruth Gilbert just said. It's incredibly corrupt. We don't do this in our country, but now we do, which is very scary. The problem is they're getting away with this crap, guys. I'm kind of as always, any one of these things would have tanked a Democratic administration, right? Biden would have been in so much trouble for doing this. Trump does it, and it's just, we call it Tuesday, right? It's just kind of amazing. Actually, I'm remembering here something I've got to write down. I'm looking for a book in Athens that I may try to have my nephew get for me. I found a book somebody wrote about my great-great-great-great-grandfather in Greece. And I want the book, but it's in Greece. So I'm trying to get a hold of it. And my nephew just happens to be there for a week, or not a week, but 4 or 5 days. So there may be a chance I can get it. I'm not convinced. I'm going to pay the 10 euros and see if I can get it, but I'm not convinced. So we'll see. Anyway, unless one of you's in Athens, then there's a chance maybe we can get it, but we'll see. Anyway, what else is going on, guys? I don't know. What we can do is keep talking about it. Keep throwing light on this. Keep talking about it. Keep telling your friends about it. It creates a zeitgeist talking about it. You talk about it and people learn about it, and people start to get more and more fed up as they learn more about this. The Iliad is not the Iliad. No, my family doesn't go back that far that we know. Only the 1700s that we know. Iliads are the Iliad 2000 BC. I always forget. Something like that. Anyway, what else? Deep. This activity by Musk needs to be published in the papers. It has been. It's just there's so much. 800 BC. The only thing is, I thought no, the Trojan War. They think the Trojan War was way before that. I'm pretty sure. Don't they think the Trojan War was way before that? I thought because I was surprised the Trojan War, it was not modern ancient Greek. It was like, I want to say 1200 or 1500 or more. Because it was like 1,000 years, maybe 1,500. It was 1,000 years. I bet you it was. The text. I'm sorry. I see what you're saying. I'm sorry. The text. Yeah. I'm sorry about that. Fair enough. Yeah. I thought you were saying that the Iliad was set in 800 BC. That's what I meant. Yeah. Okay. I see what you mean. Yeah, the Trojan War. Alexa, let's see if Alexa can handle this. Alexa, what date was the Trojan War? Oh, 1,000. Okay, 1,260. Exactly. 1190. Okay, 1,200. All right, that's close then. Yeah, that's close. The text was written 300 BC. Okay. Anyway, yes, I just remember, because I remember when I learned the Trojan War was that far before ancient Greece, I was like, wow. You're getting closer to the Minoans, or is it the Mycenae? Mycenae. I always get confused because like my people are from Mycenae or Messenia or whatever, but you've got Mycenae as well, like Mycenaeans versus Messenians. My people are Messenians, but the Mycenaeans were the ones that go back to like 1500 BC or something like that. Really cool archaeological dig in Greece, by the way, the Mycenaean one, because it's relatively new. And just now, it's been 15 years. It may be a lot cooler now, but anyway, cool stuff. Cool stuff. Anyway. What else? Oh, Paros. Hey, Dieter. I've been to Paros. I preferred Antiparos, to be honest, than Paros, the city. The city, this is now 40 years ago, but the city was too touristy back then for me. Antiparos was way calmer. I like, now who knows, but although now it's sort of off season, so hopefully it's nice and mellow in general for you there. Anyway, what else is going on? Stick with English. I didn't know we were speaking another language. Perhaps you have your translation app on as we're speaking. It is a little quiet tonight. We've got a good number of people on TikTok, though, 1,100. Somebody did say the Department of Education was getting gutted. I mean, we knew that was happening anyway. Let me look and see. That's an interesting question. What would be the result today of a repeat of the election? I don't know that. I mean, I don't know that Trump has done enough damage yet. You know, I don't know that he's done enough damage. Let me see, Department of Education, and then I will look at the question on YouTube. I did see that. Thank you, Marty. Nearly half of the Department of Education staff will be eliminated imminently. Let me see here. The U.S. Education Department will start sweeping layoffs beginning Tuesday evening. The department is expected to cut about 50% of its workforce. These people are unbelievable. The department employs around 4,400 workers. This is the problem. Okay. Let's pretend those 4,400 workers, they're firing half of them, 2,200. Let's pretend those 2,200 workers each make $100,000 a year. They don't. On average, maybe. I suspect it's less. Let's make it high, 100,000 a year. 2,200 times 100,000. Alexa, what is 2,200 times 100,000? 220 million. That may sound like a lot of money to you. It's not, right? The deficit is $2 trillion a year. $2 trillion. 200 million isn't doing much of anything, to be honest. I mean, it's okay, but you had to wipe out half of the Department of Education, and you're still not really saving that much money. But you've now wiped out the Department of Education. And this is something that Republicans have always wanted to do, and they're doing it. And again, getting away with it. I'm actually kind of amazed that they're getting away with it, because it's kind of, I think what's amazing, what Trump has done, and Marty, I'll get to your thing now. Thank you, Jonathan. What Trump has done that fascinates me is he has so expanded in politics what we call the Overton window. The Overton window is the notion that the realm of decency, right? Like in terms of there's an Overton window to your daily life, right? The realm of decency, for example, your Overton window for most of us does not involve stealing. It does not involve, it may even involve holding the door. There's certain things we wouldn't do because whether legally, morally, ethically, we just wouldn't do that, right? Our window only goes this far in terms of actions we do that might be bad. In politics, the Overton window is politicians. For example, currently the Overton window includes not cutting Social Security. No one would dare cut Social Security, right? Trump may change that. What we found with Trump is Trump has done things. I mean, again, he had the relationship with a porn star right after his wife gave birth and then paid her off with $130,000 right before the election to hide it from the election. And this was okay, right? In the election. It didn't cost him the election. We had the Access Hollywood video 3 weeks before the election, Trump talking about sexually molesting women, and it was okay. Right? That was something before in politics you could never get away with. And all of a sudden with Trump, he got away with it and he got away with it. And he started doing more and more. And then the business deals, the graft from the White House, right? Things, he's got his own cryptocurrency. He's making money while he's in the White House. No one does those things. Trump does it. Having foreign officials stay at his hotel, requiring them basically to stay at his hotels. so that they're paying Trump. Foreign officials visiting America. Last time we have to stay at Trump's hotel. So they literally were paying Trump off when they came here. That's stuff that you never did before. And what worries me is we have like with this Department of Education thing, Republicans have wanted to destroy the Department of Education forever, right? They've wanted to do this forever. And they never just said, well, we're just going to close it down. And now they're closing it down. It boggles my mind. I mean, it really boggles my mind. Anyway, all right, Marty. If Elon can turn off Starlink in Ukraine, like the drone subs, why? Right, because Elon a couple of years ago reportedly had turned off these boat drones that were on Starlink. Why can't he turn off Starlink in Russia, or is Elon feeding Russia info about the Ukraine movement? I believe Starlink claims it's not operating in Russia. I believe because at the very least, supposedly it's the Russian military is not supposed to get it, but we know they get it anyway, pirating it or whatever. I don't know whether Starlink is officially live in Russia itself. That I don't know. Good question, but I don't know whether Russia, I know they're cheating and getting access in the battlefield, but I don't know whether Russia itself as a country is able to get Starlink or whether that's covered in the sanctions. I'm not, Robert says he doesn't think it is. I'm not. ChatGPT said no. Okay, that way it's exactly. ChatGPT said no. So it looks like it's not actually, it's not officially, right? Basically, that it's not being allowed. Maybe they're getting around the sanctions, but it's not being allowed. Murray, do they want to get rid of the Department of Education because they're still angry about segregation ending? Okay, that was worth it. Thank you, Murray. I mean, what's actually going on is Republicans, the Republican Party has this like conspiracy theory about, liberals are using the Department of Education to indoctrinate our youth. And if we give education to each state, it'll be better. Well, the problem is if you give education to each state, I'm actually okay. No offense to you guys in red states. I'm actually kind of okay with that to a degree because I would love all the money to go to our states, right? Give the money to Illinois. Illinois can teach kids about evolution. California, Massachusetts, give all the the big Democratic states, let them educate their children in science. Let the Republican states tell kids that RFK Jr. is right about vaccines if you want, right? All the crazy conspiracy theories. Let them believe all this stuff. Okay. I mean, and again, I feel sorry for you guys in red states, but there's a part of me that's kind of like, oh no, not the briar patch. You don't want to vaccinate your children and yourself. Oh no. You don't want to take care of your health, evil person. Oh no. Right? I mean, there's a part of me that's like, okay, you don't want your children to be able to compete with our children in the job market. You're going to teach them crazy things. Oh no. And then your economies won't grow as quickly and our economies will grow more and businesses will come to our economies and leave your economies because yours will be a little crazy. Oh no. I just, I mean, again, I worry about this stuff because I don't want our education to go, because what I do worry about is I'd like education standards to be good in Republican states, right? I'm funny that way. I don't want Republicans to suffer. I don't want Republican children to suffer, right? But these guys, I mean, I don't know. It's adjusting my light a little now that the sun is going down. Oh, man. Canadian departments of education are provincial. Well, is yours as crazy as ours, though? You don't have people promoting the crazy stuff these guys are, do you? Like banning, science and stuff. I mean, man. Yeah, I was going to say, I can't imagine Canada's got the crazy stuff. But I really do feel that way. I'm like, okay. You want to just, you want to knock yourself out, In Alberta, they do. There is not going to be a nuclear war, Ryan. Why would there be? Things are better now than they've been in a lot. I mean, as far as that goes, Putin's got his employee in the White House, basically. Why would there be a nuclear war? I mean, there's literally nothing going on like nuclear war wise. There's no conflict. There's nothing. I don't either. Low Stakes says, I'm a Brit. I don't get how you can have a person in charge of health who admits to taking some of the hardest drugs out there, which RFK Jr. did. Also, to me, the bigger problem is we've got a person in charge of healthcare in America, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who said a year and a half ago, and you can Google it, all the fact checkers checked, RFK Jr. falsely claimed a year and a half ago that he claimed falsely that no vaccine has ever been proven safe or effective, which is crazy. That's a total lie. Every vaccine has been proven safe and effective. That's the process vaccines go through to be, vaccines. He just lied about it. And my favorite with him is he also lies when you call him on it. He goes, I never said that. I saw him on CNN do that. I never said that. And the lady on CNN goes, okay, play the tape. And they didn't just play him saying it. They played a minute of him saying it so that it was clear the context and everything of him saying this. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. And Google it. I mean, please Google it. Google right now if you want, or ask ChatGPT, RFK Jr. saying that no vaccine has been proven safe or effective. And you will find the quotes from him lying about it. And then you'll find the actual quotes. And actually, it was a podcast, so you can probably find the video, which I'm pretty sure you can find the video too. So. Anyway, what else? Nebraska's going to go bankrupt? Nope. What's up with Nebraska? Oh, I did have an extra coffee today though. So I'm still yawning at you because I slept so badly. Our power died again. Our power went out Sunday night and last night for an hour and a half each time. In Washington, D.C., power doesn't go out. It doesn't go out. It just doesn't go out. I mean, very strange. Go get him, Ashley. Power just doesn't go out in this town because our power cables are underground. In Chicago, it goes out all the time. We lost power Sunday night and we lost it last night, which is crazy. So I actually ordered, although it's supposed to come today and it didn't come, I ordered 2 of those little lanterns, the LED lanterns that you can light up your room, except the damn thing Amazon pushed it off till tomorrow. And I was like, no, because I just know it's going off again tonight. It's going off. I think something weird's going on. By the way, did something happen with Twitter today? I think Elon finally deprecated my Twitter app on my computer, which I'm pissed at him for. He killed the Twitter app for my computer. Yeah, he killed it. It's gone. That son of a bitch. He's such a son of a bitch. Because my laptop's too old. So Elon doesn't want the Twitter app to work anymore with my laptop. It's like my laptop's 7 years old. It works great. I've got to buy a new freaking laptop because you don't want to update the program, Elon. I mean, obnoxious as hell. Just piss it. So yeah, they just stopped it today. It's dead. So, oh yeah, Trump got into a Tesla today. That was pretty funny. That was very funny. Trump was promoting Tesla. Trump, who hates electric vehicles, was promoting Tesla today, which I thought was very funny. Again, hates electric vehicles. Badmouths them all the time. Was like, oh, I'm going to buy one of these. And he bought one of them. It was like, okay. Very interesting. Yeah. Very interesting. I mean, he bought it. Yeah. He can't stand electric vehicles. What else? Anonymous probably did take down Twitter. That's going to be my guest. So, you joined the Ukrainian army. Wow. I'm good. How are you? Yeah, you had 3 of them in front of the White House. And again, that was Trump deflecting. That was probably Trump deflecting from all the talk about the economy and the stock market crashing. It would be my guess. So, my nose is still, oh man. It's the official Twitter app, Sergio. No, this is the actual Twitter app. Yeah. But it kept saying you must update it. And then every time I clicked the update, we don't provide an update for your computer. And I was like, what the hell? And I mean, it's not like my computer is 15 years old. It's 7 years old. You can't, hello. I mean, you can't I've got to buy a new computer now. It's just obnoxious. Anyway, Elon, God, how did this man get to be the richest man in the world is beyond me, Just unbelievable. Oh, what else, guys? What else? I know Twitter was hacked. Elon was blaming the Ukrainians, but Elon does that. He blames the Ukrainians and he blames people when he screws up, basically. Was Doge caught in another lie? Elon's group has been very funny. Some of the stuff I forgot to tell you guys last week, actually. Actually, no, you know what? This happened when I was in Italy. That's why. They found that the top 5 money-saving cuts that Elon Musk's group made, the top 5 most, the biggest cuts Elon's group made in saving federal money were all fake. They were a lie, and they had to take it off the website because the reporters basically started investigating all the cuts Elon was making. The 5 top ones were BS. They were total lies. So, I mean, the problem is we need somebody to oversee Elon and company. But this is what they do, Yeah. Yeah, but I don't want to buy a new laptop. Someone said, I know you're joking. I don't want to buy a laptop. My laptop works. I mean, and honestly, I'd have to probably crowdfund from you guys for the laptop too. Like, why buy a new laptop when my laptop works? It's a crime. It works pretty well. I mean, a new one would be nice and spiffy. Why not? But it just seems kind of crazy to me. Actually, I would say this is almost the best I've had in terms of laptops that are still pretty quick. Thank you, Eddie. I'm not buying a new there you go. Very funny. It makes me look old. Yeah. Does this laptop make me look old? Okay, that was cute. Go to bed. It's a MacBook Pro, but it's like 2018 model. That is funny. Does this laptop make me look old? Thank you, Genevieve. I will say, or Genevieve. Oh man. But with Trump's tariffs, the laptop prices may have gone up because of all his tariffs on his tariffs on China, actually, so who knows? Oh man, you saw a manhole fire caused by power outages in DC. Lovely. Well, we don't know. Was there any indication of foul play with the oil tanker? Is that the one that ran into the American ship, or is that something else now? Is that something else though? Or is that the one that the Russians? Yeah, that's still going on, but let me pull this up and see. Is there any indication of foul play? Hang on, guys. British police arrested the captain of a cargo ship on suspicion of gross negligence manslaughter on Tuesday, but that's still negligent, although grossly negligent. After the vessel crashed into a tanker carrying U.S. military jet fuel. Neither vessel is now expected to sink. One crew member is assumed dead. Whoosh. We've arrested a 59-year-old man on suspicion of gross negligence manslaughter. Owners of the salon said the vessel was not carrying sodium cyanide, contrary to earlier reports. That's good. There's nothing in here. What's interesting is there's nothing in here that says either way. Here we go. British Prime Minister said there was currently no suggestion of foul play. Boy, they bury that in the end of the article. Hello, Reuters. You think maybe you could put that in the top of the article? Like, okay, a little weird. Anyway, oh man. Still my Italian cold. I think every night it comes back. And it could be allergies though. I don't think it is. Anyway, effort to audit the election. Probably bullshit. Your MacBook Pro's on the election. Our elections we have the safest elections in the world, basically. That's the thing. Thank you, Anthony. Other Anthony over on YouTube. U.S. elections are some of the, safest. They're totally safe. I always forget the data, but the quote, something to the effect of, they looked at election data of the last 20 years with over 1 billion votes cast, 1 billion with a B. And they found something like 100 incidents of election reform, election fraud, 100 out of 1 billion or 2 billion votes. They found 100. And of course, not surprisingly, they found that none of that fraud influenced an election because there was so little fraud. We do not have fraud in our elections. The Republicans, sadly, have convinced everybody we do, or convinced their people, because I don't know, it fits their agenda for whatever reason. But if you actually do the research, you'll see we don't have fraudulent elections. So yeah, I mean, the idea of auditing the election, knock your socks out, but I think it's silly. I really do. You know, yeah, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I mean, I'm sure Elon would be, or the Republicans would be happy to, but I don't think they did. Again, our elections tend to be super safe. Part of the thing is our elections are so, state by state and machine by machine that it's very hard to cheat, they think. Now with AI, who knows? I don't know. Maybe with AI, I don't know, right? I told you the AI stuff is blowing my mind. I mean, some of the stuff you can do with this stuff, but well, Donna, I'm glad I'm wrong, but maybe you'll illuminate the world with your secret knowledge about the corrupt American elections. So, no, it's a conspiracy theory that US elections are unsafe. And again, by the way, note that I don't like Trump, but I admit Trump won the election and I admit that our elections are not stolen. That's because I'm not a crazy person and I'm fair and objective, even though, well, I am objective. That's why I don't like Trump. But anyway, what else we got, guys? Anything else? 7-11? We'll go a little longer. We could always end too if people have anything. USAID was tasked with election integrity. It was. And USAID is totally legit. They're not corrupt at all. They didn't find any corruption on USAID. Actually, they lied about that too. So yeah, USAID is one of the most important programs and agencies the U.S. has ever had in terms of helping our government, and they destroyed it, which is going to hurt people around the world. And it's going to hurt the U.S. reputation around the world, which is going to hurt us militarily. It's going to hurt us economically. It's going to hurt us diplomatically. Really freaking stupid. Why so many lies? Because unfortunately, Trump feels he has to lie to people to win. He can't tell them the truth. So they couldn't tell the people the truth about AID because, frankly, the truth about AID was it was a wonderful program that went around the world and saved people. And it saved people with AIDS. It saved people who were starving, people with Ebola. Hold on, give the dog some water. One moment. A little more water, dog. And if you tell people the truth that AID actually was saving millions of people worldwide, forget the fact that it was, I'm talking selfish American here. Forget that it was saving people. We were saving people. The world was seeing Americans. Countries were seeing Americans come in and help them with their AIDS drugs, help them fight Ebola, help them fight bird flu, by the way. The AID was heavily involved in. They're seeing Americans help them. And then it makes those countries want to do business with America. It makes those countries want to ally militarily with America. It makes them want to help our troops and help our military by giving us bases and giving our ships right in their ports and giving us flyover rights of their countries when we have military operation or military actions in the area. That is why we had USAID. It was created by John F. Kennedy, President Kennedy, back in the early 1960s, in order to beat the Soviets. USAID was not created as some do-good program. Kennedy literally created AID in order to fight the Soviet Union because we were trying to fight the world for the hearts and minds, again, in the end, so we could have our businesses, so we could help our military, and help these countries in the end side with us and not side with the enemy. And Trump killed it. And he killed it. So why would somebody lie about USAID? Because if you told the truth about USAID, people would be very upset that you destroyed that program that was doing so much good for the US military and doing so much good for US businesses and US diplomacy. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. But what do you do? Now what do? We keep talking about it. We keep, eventually people are going to figure it out. I mean, eventually, if we have a recession, inflation goes up, people are going to finally figure out what Trump is doing. It's too bad, though. Very sad. So, anyway, Ash, you can brief me later on what problem 2-Inch Hero is having. Maybe Syndicate can help us, depending what it is. I'm only seeing your guys' conversation, but I don't want to read it through because I'll have to take a break in the show. But fill me in later, maybe. Politics is tiring because you feel powerless. No, it's true. I mean, this is more powerless than I felt in a long time. Having said that, what goes around comes around. I mean, Trump is, ironically, Trump is doing more crazy things than he did last time. He's much more extremist than he was last time, but at the same time, in some ways, he's been much weaker, as I said, like all the flip-flopping on the trade and the tariffs. It shows a certain weakness. But having said that, he's going much farther than he did last time. We can only hope that at some point he so pisses people off, and maybe it will be because the economy collapses, which I don't want the economy to collapse because it's hurting my retirement money that in the stock market has gone down significantly thanks to Trump. I've lost a lot of money to date. Hopefully it'll come back right before I retire. But hopefully enough people with inflation's going up. With the measles is spreading across the country now, and Trump picked a guy to be our health secretary who doesn't believe in vaccines. Okay. Even the measles, he was talking about Texas and he was talking about measles. This was amazing. Trump's, health secretary, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. The other week, and I think I was in Italy at this point too, so we didn't talk about it with you guys, but he's talking about measles, and there's a measles outbreak in Texas and it's spreading around the country now. And of course, and it killed somebody, and it's spreading among people who refuse to get the measles vaccine that we all got when we were kids. They're refusing because they're anti-vaccine. And Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is talking about measles, and he doesn't go and suggest people get the vaccine. He suggests vitamin A. Help me out here, guys. Cod liver oil and some steroid. It was crazy. And all the experts said, what are you talking about? Cod liver oil isn't a treatment for measles. That's crazy. And steroids aren't really a treatment for measles. And the problem is, and this is what Robert F. Kennedy Jr. does. He takes something, and I don't know if he's crazy. I don't know if he lies. I don't know if he's not intelligent, but he takes things and then twists them. Actually, this is a really good example of what he does and why intelligent, educated people, the experts, don't like him. When kids get measles in Africa, okay, they're often undernourished and they don't have enough vitamin A. So they will often give those kids, I believe it's cod liver oil that has vitamin A. Correct me if I'm wrong. They'll give the kids cod liver oil and actual vitamin A to get their vitamin A levels up, because if they're vitamin A deficient, they have a harder time fighting the disease. They don't give kids in Africa cod liver oil because cod liver oil is a treatment for measles. It's not. It helps people who are vitamin deficient in vitamin A, because if they're vitamin deficient, their body has a harder time fighting measles. But Kennedy presented it as though Americans should take cod liver oil. And no, because there's no indication of Americans being vitamin A insufficient, having a deficiency, but especially the people with measles, there's no indication of that. I mean, this is the crazy stuff of why we were so upset at Trump picking this guy. This is a perfect example. So again, he proposed these 3 crazy treatments for measles. The one thing he didn't propose was the vaccine. He gets asked about the vaccine and he goes, he said this a couple of weeks ago. He was asked about the measles vaccine. And he said, and I paraphrase, I'm not going to tell people not to take the vaccine, but it is true. It's not true, by the way. He's lying, but he claims falsely that it's true that the vaccine was never tested. And people are like, are you crazy? Of course the measles vaccine was tested. We all know the measles vaccine was tested. But this is who Trump picked. This is who he picked. It's Google it. I mean, that's what I always say with the stuff I tell you guys. Google the stuff I'm telling you. It's crazy. And again, he's hurting his own people. Actually, the problem you get with the vaccine stuff is you actually hurt babies, because and those of you who have had kids may know better than I, but apparently certain vaccines you can't get until the kid is a certain age. So you've got like newborns that can catch these diseases and die. I mean, because they're not vaccinated against these diseases. So I don't know, like, but is it like you don't? I'm assuming parents help me out here that there are initial vaccinations that don't happen right away, right? Like, when is the latest? When is the latest that a kid gets a vaccination he's never had? Not a vaccination that's a booster, but what is the oldest an infant that you can tell me? Like, okay, Carol's saying 4 months or 6 months, 11 years. Is there anything that late? Really? You're talking months though, or age, guys? Oh, the earliest is 3 months. Really? The earliest is 3 months? No, but I'm talking about vaccines for diseases you catch that are going to get you right now, like measles or mumps or something like that. You know what I mean? That could kill you right now. 3 months in Canada. That's very interesting. Okay. That's very interesting. 2 months. So it is a few months at least. That's very interesting. Okay. Yeah. The booster is a different question, but the fact that you've got to wait 2 or 3 months for a baby to even get the vaccines means the first 2 to 3 months, those babies are vulnerable, right? Very scary. Okay. MMR is 1 year. Really? Well, that's Canada. Or is that's abroad though? Is that in the US though? MMR is measles, mumps, and rubella. Mumps I had as a kid, actually, before the vaccine. I think I got mumps like the year before the vaccine when I was a kid. I remember it was horrible, swollen and painful right here. Year 1 in Canada. What is it in the US? I could ask Alexa. Alexa, turn up your volume. Oh, Zerbachi says 1 year. Okay. Alexa, at what age do children get the MMR vaccine in the US?
Here's something I found on ShareCare. Since the mumps vaccine was first developed in the 1960s, it has become routine to vaccinate children against this disease. Doctors recommend that most children receive a mumps vaccine between 12 and 15 months of age. Many children.
Alexa, stop. So for mumps, for example, it's 12 to 15 months. Interesting. Interesting. Alexa, at what age do doctors recommend children get measles vaccines? Oh my God, she's so freaking stupid. Alexa, at what age do doctors recommend children get measles vaccines?
Here's something I found on rtl.de. The current recommendation is to have the first measles vaccination carried out at the age of 11 to 14 months.
Oh, 11 to 14. Alexa, stop. 11 to 14 months. Wow. Wow. Okay, I didn't realize that. So every kid who's 1 year or less in America probably has not had the measles vaccine, and you've got these crazy people running around spreading measles. Okay, that's very scary. That's actually very scary, right? I mean, because you're worried about your kids to start with, but you've got a baby that's less than a year of age. Wow. Oh, that's scary. That's very scary. Wow. Okay, I did not realize that. Holy cow. Okay. Wow. Wow. You know, what's really annoying, by the way, with Alexa, they've got a new one coming out that supposedly is going to be AI smarter or something. And I'm like, seriously, you conned me into buying all these stupid things. Like I bought 2 more in the last year. And now you're telling me I need to buy an entirely new one to replace the 2 or 3 that I've got? That just pisses me off. I mean, that's just rude at this point. You know what I mean? You can't plug the AI into the stupid one I've got. Just so Amazon, you know, I like Amazon, but my God. Yeah, measles parties, exactly. Actually, Marjorie Taylor Greene talked about that. She was proposing the crazy measles party stuff. Callum says pregnant and breastfeeding mothers get MMR and pass on immunity. Oh, that's interesting. Interesting. Okay. But it's temporary immunity, I'm assuming, right? Because the kids, thank you for the gift. Who is that? JPT or JPT got one? Oh, that is JPT. Thank you for that. I'm assuming it's a temporary immunity. Excuse me, because they still need to get the MMR vaccine between 12 and 15 months or whatever. So clearly the vaccine isn't permanent, or the immunity is not permanent, and it's not as strong an immunity. Okay. That's what I was wondering about. No idea. Okay. Right. That's what I was wondering. Okay. But of course, not everybody does breastfeeding either. So, you know, man. Well, no, you wouldn't get it while pregnant, but you would. Wait. Actually, somebody else is saying pregnant people. Oh my God, I almost said that. I hate that. Pregnant women can't get the MMR vaccine. Is that true? The F-16s, okay, back to Ukraine. K Weaver saying, were the F-16s ever put to use in Ukraine? Yes. Callum may have a little bit more on this, but I'm suspecting the issue is they can't go to the front line. So they've been, because they'll get shot down by the Russians, so they've been having to be further back. So they are getting stuff done. Supposedly they've been shooting down some of the missiles and some of that kind of stuff. Actually, Diane, who is a nurse, says you can get the MMR vaccine. So Callum was, of course, Callum knows this. He did just have a baby, or his wife just did, girlfriend. But yes, you can. So as Diane said, Franny says no. Okay, well, different people, but Diane's a nurse and says yes, you can. So, whoa, imperfection. Whoa. Oh, very cool gift. Thank you for the leopard. Ooh, that was neat. Now, the only thing is I've got my microphone plugged in, so I can never tell if there's sound with that. Did that actually have sound or not? Because I got the mic plugged in, I don't get the sound. But that looked really freaking cool against my new laptop, except my old laptop. Oh, it roared too? Oh, how cool. Actually, I do get a copy of these afterwards from TikTok. I'll go and I'll post it actually. I do post. I don't want to post too many of them, but I do because I don't want to like bore people on TikTok. But I can post some of the cooler gifts. I'll post that one. That was very neat. Oh, good that I can listen to it too. Thank you for that. Wow, it roared. I love the ones that do like the whale one. I think does like a whoa. It does like a whale song, as I recall. Well, Amanda says in Canada you can't. But wait, we had another nurse here. What was the other nurse saying? It is not recommended for pregnant women, and I worked in OBGYN. Okay. Doctor made me get MMR booster before trying to get pregnant. Okay. Brittany says, I don't know. I'm a nurse too, and I've been told not to get pregnant for 6 months after the MMR vaccine. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Well, all right. They literally tell you not to get pregnant within 6 months of the vaccine. Okay. But Diane says you can get it. Maybe this is one of those where you can, but many of them think you probably shouldn't, but anyway, the meerkat. Thank you, Shawnee, for the meerkat as well. Meerkat is cute. The meerkat is cute. CDC says do not. Okay. Talk to your doctor. Exactly. Talk to your doctor about it. Anyway, ooh boy. Well, do your own research. I mean, obviously, I don't want to be in a position to tell you one way or another because I don't know. Rubella, I'm sure it's terrible. I'm sure, anyway. Yeah. The measles thing blows my mind though. I mean, God, anyway. Oh, it's very quiet. Oh, my air filter must be. I've got an air filter that I had off when I was gone, I think. Maybe that's why. It's like suddenly quiet. I'm used to it having just a little bit of noise in the background. Thank you, Ash. Unnecessary, but appreciated. Thank you. But I'm used to having there's no noise in the background right now. So it's a bit like, ooh. U.S. aid has been restored to Ukraine. Correct, Jeff. Trump turned back on the military aid and the intelligence sharing. Yes, finally. So. Oh boy, I'm going to yawn. I had my coffee and I'm still yawning at you guys. No, I was last night because our power went out. That's what I was telling about the power. Our power went out. Thank you, Shawnee. And I maybe it got me too nervous or whatever. I started waking up every hour, but how when you're trying to sleep and every hour you wake up, oh my God. So I'm just exhausted today. So hopefully this will be better. Oh, it better not go off again. Last night, it was right after I had finished the show. I finished with you guys, 8:00, the power went off for an hour and a half or hour 15. And I was literally sitting in bed with Sasha. And I was like, I still had, thank God, thank you, Christina, for the gift. I still had TV shows on my iPad for my trip to Italy. Thank God. I'm going to leave them on there now. So I literally sat with my iPad in bed. I had a flashlight on and it was like, okay. But I got the new lanterns from Amazon that didn't come today. So they're coming tomorrow. So we'll see. Anyway, it is a very cool gift. Thank you, Christina, again. It's a very cute gift. Anyway, all right, guys, it's 7:30. I think I'm going to call it quits. Oh my. I know I do charge up my stuff. My iPad was a little bit under because I think as the show went long and it drained it. but I typically do charge my stuff. Actually, my phone was a bit undercharged because I was trying to let it go down a healthy amount before charging. And then I ended up having 30. Thank you, K Brown, for subscribing. I ended up having only 30% when the power went out. I was like, no. But then I used the iPad, so I was okay. The word entitlement, Cesium, I will. Let's close with that. So Cesium said, talk about the word entitlement. Here's the thing. Entitlements are used to describe programs that are kind of on auto pay, that basically we don't really appropriate money. It's sort of, I shouldn't say we don't appropriate money. I'm not even sure how the process works, like for Medicare and Medicaid, but the payments go out automatically. So it's not like Medicare runs out of money. It's not like the Social Security runs out of money, right? Everyone who deserves Social Security will get it. Everyone on Medicare will get Medicare health coverage. Thank you, Shawnee. They won't run out of money. That's what they mean by entitlements. But the word is often used in a way politically to make it sound like you're getting something that's welfare, that you're getting something you didn't earn or you don't deserve, that you're entitled to. There's just a negative connotation to entitlement, as if, like I said, it's as if you didn't deserve it or something. Or as I said, as if it's welfare. Not that there's anything wrong with welfare, but it's that kind of concept like, oh, you're just a waste. This concept is that you're wasting the system's money or something like that. And the thing is, people say that Social Security and Medicare, for example, are not entitlements. They're not, oh, you're doing me a favor by giving me my pension and my health care. I paid into it. I forget the percentage, but every paycheck you pay into Social Security and Medicare, and you don't get back the amount you put in. So like it's not a great deal, but better than not getting it back at all. So that's the concern when people like Elon Musk say, oh, Medicare and Social Security are entitlements. He's trying to almost suggest that it's a welfare program, something you didn't deserve, that, oh, we're being nice by giving it to you, when in fact, Medicare and Social Security are your own money that you paid in over 40 years, and you're getting that money back. That's the difference. So that would be at least my take on the word entitlement. Thank you, KT. Correct. We pay into it. I mean, it is, yeah, but it is a tax. It's the Social Security, it's the whatever tax it's called. It's a tax that I forget what we call it. What do we call it? The payroll tax or whatever the hell it's called, but it is a tax. Yes. That's how it's paid. It's a tax on your paycheck, every paycheck. And I pay twice as much because I'm self-employed. Like 6.9 FICA or whatever. Exactly. I pay 14% because I'm self-employed. You only pay like 6.9%. Thank you, Jill, for the meerkat. So yeah, exactly. I'm in the same situation. QT Chem or QT Chem. Same situation. So, all right, guys, we've been going an hour and a half. I'm going to call it quits so we don't stress. I mean, I am stressing my voice. I've got to try to calm the voice more when we do the show. I'll be back tomorrow. I do this every night at 6:00 Eastern on TikTok. Do follow me. I keep forgetting to ask. I did ask once tonight, but follow me if you like the show. I do a couple videos every day about what's going on, and then I do the show at night, 6 to 7:30 or so Eastern. Otherwise, thank you for joining us, guys. Thank you to all of those of you who subscribe or give gifts. I appreciate it. Everybody else, I appreciate you coming anyway, or followers. And I'll be back tomorrow. And finally, moderators, of course, as always, thank you for helping out as you always do. All right, guys, have a good night. I'm going to sign off. I'm a little nervous the power is going off in half an hour, but let's see. Hopefully not. I'm going to check the batteries on my light now that I can. Maybe put new ones in just to be safe. So Lex says, FICA is a U.S. federal payroll tax, stands for Federal Insurance Contributions Act, deducted from each paycheck. Yes, it is. My phone, I'm going to charge my phone right now, but good point on the phone too. All right. Let's see. Discord, I'll start with you guys. Jeffrey, you're the last one again. Thanks, Jeffrey. Appreciate it. See you tomorrow. Oops, hold on. There we go. I've got to expand this. There's Jeffrey. All right. Bye, Jeffrey. Disconnect and end. All right. Boom. YouTube, TikTok, you're next. YouTube. Have a good night, guys. Boom. Boom.